It's the state of the dungeon. It's a video that Rob does about his games. Yeah! Hello, folks, and welcome to a State of the Dungeon address. This is the address for the game that took place on December 2nd, 2021. The game, 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons, the adventure path, Dragon Heist, Waterdeep. So with this, we're kind of trying to go with a little bit more immersive gameplay rather than just truck the characters on a never-ending series of encounters and having to react and rush around everywhere with a really driven plot. The idea was to let the players have a bit of latitude, as much as they want to give themselves. If they don't want to give themselves any, it'll be a relatively quick adventure. And if it really doesn't go anywhere, then it really won't go any farther than Dragon Heist. But we'll see. We'll see. So, the characters that we have. We have a Tabaxi Warlock named Loxor. He is a criminal from the streets, but with, dreams of hitting it big. And, of course, as with many warlocks, kind of a checkered past. We have a silver dragonborn paladin of the moon goddess. And his name is Jazor, or Jazor. He is a member of the guild that oversees butchery and cooking, charcuterie. So, he will be, hopefully, a proud champion of Saloon. Then we have a Moon Elf Wizard, Aldrich, with a lot of other names because he descends from a noble house from Mithranor. But his family uprooted, he ended up going up to Silvery Moon, and now he's down in Waterdeep trying to learn new things and gain power. He is at least an agent of the Harpers, his faction. And he, well, it's a studious fellow, certainly, not the strongest. But, yep, proud moon elf. Then we have a Tabaxi Ranger named Felix Swiftclaw. He's an outlander, doesn't have a lot of connections in town, but he has a lot of huge dexterity and a bow. So, what else do you really need, right? And then you have Zarya Wolfang, a barbarian of the wolf tribe of barbarians that hang out north of Waterdeep, up by the spine of the world. And she also is an outlander, but she's been in town for a little while. She's worked with various military groups, but she's generally too nice of a person to be a complete sellsword to anybody. So that hasn't always stood her in the best with various military groups. She has a tendency to wander around. So, the group starts off in the Yawning Portal Tavern, having finished their day. All of them are tied to one guild or another, have a purpose to be in Waterdeep. They've met each other through various connections. Each character was told to get a connection to another person and to receive a connection from another person. So they're all interlaced as such. And as a result, didn't have to go through this long, tedious, my name is such and such, and now we all trust each other with our lives. They know each other. So they go to the Yawning Portal, because it's an interesting place for young adventurers to hang out, meet people, see the occasional, celebrity adventurer come through, or just to hear the best of rumors. Sometimes see somebody challenge the great well in the middle of the tavern to go down to Undermountain, which a lot of adventurers do, since some actually survive, come up, and are very, very well off afterwards. But when they came in, they had a seat, sat down, were served by Bonnie, the server, and a couple nods from Durnan, who, the bartender and owner. And a young adventuring group came in, and they immediately wanted to take on Undermountain, and Durnan told them they were not experienced enough to try. They should turn around and go home. And Durnan, it can be pretty persuasive when he wants to be, because as far as he's concerned, sending them down was pretty much a death sentence. There we go. So, the group was dissuaded from going down, but in the distraction, a fight broke out. Turns out that one of the other patrons of the bar was a female half-orc who was drinking by herself, and she was suddenly jumped by a group of thugs. Jumped is a little bit of a strong word, since the leader of them came up and challenged her directly, accusing her of killing several of his comrades. And this particular fellow was a rather ugly brute, bald with his head shaved, and he had a circular tattoo with spokes coming out of it like a wheel. Or like a gear, really. But a fight broke out. The party moved to intercede if needed. The paladin got up and went and stood behind her, and Jazor, in chainmail armor with a great sword, is kind of intimidating. Yeah, definitely intimidating. So while the half-orc and the belligerent who threatened her settled things when she basically just picked him up and slammed him to the ground, the others who were just ready to jump in and pound on her didn't really feel like doing that and risking opening up their backs to this paladin with his armor, sword, claws, scary-looking draconic visage. The intimidation check was pretty awesome. All told, the dice that night were rather insane for many of the group. So, they backed off. The orc woman smashed the head of the thug, knocking him cold, and he was dragged out by his friends. Now, there was a side wager going on, because one of the other bar patrons was a priestess of Joaquin, goddess of wealth, and she made a wager with them that the orc woman would knock out at least one of them, and a counter wager was made that she would knock out all of them. Well, that didn't happen, and she happily walked away with her money, because that's how it worked. But in the process, they got to meet this lady, whose name is Obeya O'Day, and all told, it wasn't a terrible first meeting, that's for sure. Although some of them were pretty poor. And as that ruckus was clearing up, a big green warty hand reached over the side of the well to pull the owner of the hand up. It was a troll, being attended by a group of sturges that had been sucking on him. The thing is, trolls can be hurt by sturges, but they do regenerate the damage they take. So they're kind of like an all-you-can-eat buffet as long as the troll gets enough food to survive. So he didn't like being nommed on by the sturges, but now he is ravenously hungry, and the taste of all these people in the bar was just too much. So he climbed up, and Durnan, ever the professional, looked at him, called out "Troll" to everyone, pulled out a great sword from underneath his bar, and charged. He told the group to deal with the creatures that were fluttering around, the sturges, as they were a problem that low-level adventurers can handle, while he, Durnan, would take on the troll. Seemed to work out pretty well, too. The troll barely scraped Durnan, and Durnan cut into him with that sword of his. The group kind I did okay against the Sturges. Didn't really help all that much. The Paladin moved up to get within range. And then the Warlock came charging up and used his Burning Hand spell, seeking to try to wipe out all of the Sturges at once. But I had him make an Arcana test as he's casting a spell in a mixed melee, and his aim was a little askew. He did get one of the Sturges, which crisped like that. Saving throw wouldn't have helped at all. But he also got the Paladin, who did not make his saving throw, and he went down, a victim of his own party member's Burning Hands. That was special. So, now he's going to be better prepared the next time he casts that spell. It gets a little easier to cast it into a group. And, well, everybody else knows that he's kind of dangerous with his magics. So that was appropriate, too. So the archer, Felix, bow, natural 20, drilled one of those suckers, just right through, stapled it to the wall, which scared one of the bar patrons. It happens. The final one was... yes, taken out by another natural 20. I swear it was getting absolutely ridiculous. This time from the Paladin Jazor, who had already had a copious amount of luck poured upon his shoulders with just the stats that he generated. Seriously, one of the most ridiculous characters over the top that I've ever seen. And he cut the Sturge in half, and with the backswing was able to come up and hit the troll, too. At this point, the group is now ready to attack the troll. Durnan was calling for them to hit it with oil so that they could be set on fire when it was finally dropped. Well, to be fair, Zarya tried. She tried. The first one, she just smashed a lamp on the ground and it caught fire. But Bonnie quickly put it out with some alchemical fire stop powder. The next one hit, though. And Durnan hit it pretty hard. And, of course, it was also good that... I will get the names down. Just takes a little practice. It did help that Aldrich was hitting him with fire bolts. Which, obviously, the troll saw as being his biggest threat and was ready to pounce and rend poor Aldrich asunder, when he was finally hit by one last shot which dropped him, thunk, to the ground. And then the lantern, psh, and the troll burnt to a blackened crisp very quickly as the burning oil consumed his flesh. It was lovely. So, all told, the group stepped forward and offered to help Durnan to take out the troll. And as they were getting the remains of the troll taken care of, and everybody was getting taken care of, and Durnan was left to stew over the slight damage that his bar had taken, which wasn't too much. The bar took a shot from an errant Eldritch Blast, which cracked some of the wood, relatively easy to fix with a mending spell. And there may have been one or two stray shots elsewhere, but nothing too serious. Certainly this place has seen more. I'll just put it that way. But as the group was kind of, getting into after-combat mode, they were greeted by a fellow who was very happy to see adventurers of their caliber who were willing to help out in the case of a general emergency. In fact, he was counting on it. This person who greeted them was none other than Volothamp Gadarm, known more widely as Volo. He was just coming off of his book tour for Volo's Guide to Monsters, available in fine gaming stores wherever you may be. Assuming you have a fine gaming store nearby. But he went to the group and he's like, I need your help. And the group's like, okay, what you got? And he's like, well, I have a friend. He's gone missing. And the times are pretty dark. There's acts of violence going on all over. People are worried. There's just generally a lot of badness going on right now. And now my friend is missing in the middle of it. Could you try to find him? And the group agreed, because he offered them 10 gold up front, with an additional 100 gold each after they recover him. All told, 5 party members, that's a 500 gold reward for first level adventurers tracking somebody down. Pretty good, pretty good. Plus, with the 10 gold to start with, they had some seed money to go out, maybe buy a few things, or, you know, just to keep in case. So, the group accepted. And they are now have a lead. He was last seen at the Skewered Dragon Tavern. And, other than that, Volo really doesn't know. That was the last place that he saw his friend Floon. And it's up to the group to put in a little initiative and see if they can find him. So, it really does depend on the group. If they put in the initiative, great. If they don't, this is something they can actually fail at. So, it would be sad. So, let's see what creative things they come up next time, as another State of the Dungeon address will be revealed after we play the game and see what happens next. Will these strong adventurers come through, find the initiative to go out and do a little investigative work, maybe come up with something clever that might give them a lead here or there? We'll see. But we'll all find out together at the next State of the Dungeon address. I'm Rob. Thanks for joining me. Until that next time, farewell.